with the agenda.
Positive Hug Days, day
PH
number
Days,
2.
Day 2.
Погружение в тему кибербезопасности еще глубже, еще
Getting a deep dive into cybersecurity.
сотни участников. За эфиром следят десятки тысяч.
Hundreds of watchers,
Сферы инфобеза.
tens of thousands of remote viewers, leaders of information security industry, representatives of the government and regulators.
Белым хакерам. А синт – это вообще законно?
All topics discussed.
Довести до топа, что кибербез – это must-have.
I think, is it legal? How to bring across to the top management that cybersecurity is a must-have? What cybersecurity has under the hood? And today we'll continue with the government view of cybersecurity, starting the third day. Dear participants, you will be able to ask questions.
Спикеры выберут самые интересные.
Speakers, please scan the QR code on your mobile device and get redirected to the chat board. The speakers will note the most interesting questions and give answers to them. The third day, secure future for a person, country and the world. Welcome Maksud Shadev, Minister of Digital Development, Telecommunications and Mass Communications in the Russian Federation. Vladimir Yevtushenko, founder of AFK Sistema.
Руководитель фонда «Талант».
Елена Shmylova, Chairman of the Board at Syria's Federal Territory. Head of Talent Fund, Boris Titov, shareholder of Abraudirsov, Denis Baranov, CEO of Positive Technologies, director Yuri Maksimov, co-founder of CyberOS.
Добрый день, уважаемые друзья.
Hello, dear friends.
Такая интересная сессия.
We're going to have quite an exciting session today. We're going to talk about our digital future. But it's a hacker forum, so we want to do it in a non-standard way, in order to understand how to build the security for our future. We need to understand how it's going to look. And I would like this to be done with voices of different people, people impacting this future. We're not trying to talk about how we feel it, in order to give the meat to the people who are providing this future. I'd like to start by introducing our speakers to explain why it's these people that were invited today. Let's start with Елена Shmylova. Елена.
Елена Владимировна, здравствуйте. К сожалению,
Юрий, коллеги, здравствуйте.
Can you come online?
К сожалению, Елене Владимировне не получилось сегодня
Юрий, colleague, hello.
к нам на площадку, поэтому
Unfortunately, she wasn't able to attend us today in person, so she'll be attending online. Елена Shmylova is the head of the Talent and Success Foundation, also the chairman of the Council of the Syria's Federal Territory. And in my understanding, Елena is a real Russian hacker. She's hacking the Russian education system, trying to do everything to make sure that all young people in this country should...
Елена Владимировна, здравствуйте.
Да, здравствуйте, Юрий, здравствуйте, коллеги. Очень рад принимать участие.
Hello, Yuri. Hello, colleagues. I'm very happy to take part.
Владимир Петрович Евтушенко.
Thank you very much. Vladimir Yevtushenko, founder of AFK Sistema. Sounds modestly, but in fact, Vladimir is a billionaire businessman of the old Soviet mold. Vladimir, you're going to celebrate 76 years. You look great. Perhaps you're a life hacker. Perhaps you are caring about your health. And I have
один из немногих, кто вкладывает свои заработанные деньги
deep respect for you, Vladimir, because
высокотехнологических компаний.
He's one of the few people who are investing their own money in the development of high-tech companies. Not just hoarding the money, but trying to get things done. It's hydrogen, electric trams, and so on and so forth. And it's the only person out of large-scale business people who's interested in cybersecurity, trying to make it all even better. Vladimir, hello.
скромно
Boris
написал, что
Titov.
он акционер
He
компании
modestly
«Абрау-Дюрсо».
stated or
Но на
introduced
самом деле
himself
я,
as a
честно говоря, не
shareholder
видел,
at Abrau
почему
Dürso.
вы
But
перестали
frankly,
быть
I don't quite understand why you stopped
уполномоченным по праву.
presenting yourselves as an ombudsman
Борис
for business.
Юрьевич, с моей точки зрения, вот он
Well,
10 лет
Boris,
проработал
in my opinion,
уполномоченным
well, you know, he spent 10 years
бизнесменов,
working
простите,
as a
предпринимателей. Ну вот,
business
я, честно говоря, не
and
помню, как он перестал им быть,
entrepreneur, ombudsman.
тем не менее.
Frankly, I haven't seen any news
Вот, почему
that
я
you
Бориса
stopped
Юрьевича
being one.
пригласил с вами
But
поучаствовать в
nevertheless,
дискуссии,
why
потому
I
что
asked
по
Boris
факту
to
оказалось,
take
что
part
Борис
in this
Юрьевич
discussion because it turned
сегодня
out that
это главный продавец
Boris
российского
today is the main seller
киберрешения на
of
уровне
Russian
государства в мире,
cybersecurity
в стране.
as a solution,
Потому что
as a
по факту, считая, где
state-level
мы были, что мы
solution
делали, с Борисом
all over the
Юрьевичем мы
world.
объехали уже большое количество
So
стран,
we
предлагая
have traveled
кибербезопасность российского как
across
решение
many
на
countries
уровне страны
with him,
первым местом
offering
государства. Поэтому,
cybersecurity
Борис Юрьевич,
as a
здесь
solution
не
that
просто так.
country can
Борис Юрьевич,
provide
здравствуйте.
at the very first level to heads of
Денис
states.
Баранов, на мой взгляд, это
Денис
человек, который
Баранов
больше всего вложился в то, чтобы профессия
is the
русского
person
инженера под
who
названием
invested
русский хакер
the most
стала популярна, стала
to
интересной
make
людям,
the
и мы
profession of Russian hacker
по-настоящему
to
обладали
be
вот этим
really
ресурсом. Ну, помимо
exciting
всего
to people,
прочего,
so
Денис
that we should have this
является
resource
генеральным
at our
директором компании
disposal.
«Позитив»,
Also,
которая делает
Denis
всякий взлом,
is
который под управлением искусственного
the
интеллекта на сегодняшний день уже начинает ловить хакеров лучше, чем
Positive Technologies
софт под управлением
the
людей.
company that is making software that
И
can
Максут Ильич
catch
Шадаев, министр цифры,
people,
наверное, все
catch
его знают, человек,
criminals
который
better than
сделал
people.
для
And Maksud
кибербезопасности
Shadayev,
от лица
the
министра,
person
наверное, больше, чем
who's
все,
done
кто был до него, и, возможно, больше, чем
more
все, кто будет
about
после.
cybersecurity,
Представление не
information
нуждается. Максут, привет.
security as a minister than anybody else before them. So he doesn't need any introductions. Hi, everyone. Hi.
Поэтому, друзья, хочется вот такими
So
глазами
therefore,
сегодня поговорить, как мы чувствуем этот
I
мир
would
не на
like
уровне экспертизы кибербезопасности.
to see how
Чего
we
мы
change the world,
боимся,
not at the
чего мы
level of
верим, что нам
expertise,
понравилось,
what
где даже не
we
нужно
are
объяснять
afraid of, what we
логику
believe
ответа на
in.
вопросы. Просто, пожалуйста,
Sometimes you don't even have to
поделитесь
explain
своим
the
ощущением,
logic.
как выглядит этот мир. И первый вопрос, который хотелось бы задать,
Your
друзья,
view of this world. And the first question I'd
для
like to
вас
ask,
оказалась
friends,
в вашей
why
жизни
cybersecurity turned out to be important for your
Кто
life?
начнет?
Who'll start?
Максут Игоревич.
Maksud, over to you.
Спасибо, очень хороший вопрос.
Thank you.
Ну, Минцифры
Very good question.
живет повесткой
The
развития всевозможных
Ministry of Digital Development lives with the agenda of all sorts of digital services. We believe that there should be many of them. They should be making the lives of our citizens more comfortable, better in every walk of life, in education, in health services, and so on.
нашу жизнь также, потому что чем больше
And indeed, cybersecurity has entered our life
тем выше эти риски. И, честно говоря, вот стремительное
in a
такое
very big way, because the broader the usage, the higher the risks.
новые вызовы, угрозы.
And this, high pace of
Это может останавливать
digitization getting in our lives
поэтому, конечно, мы должны найти
calls
ответы
for
на эти актуальные вопросы,
greater
чтобы не тормозить цифровизацию.
attention. And so we have to think how to handle these things, not to stall digitalization. Okay, thank you. Vladimir, for you, in terms of business and as a person, why cybersecurity has become so important? Well, you remember the famous film, Moscow doesn't trust the tears. So they said in 20 years, nothing will be there. No radio, no TV. So we are moving to a situation where there will only be cybersecurity left. So you shouldn't be afraid of anything. You shouldn't be, because fear kills everything living. Third thing, whether we want it or not, but all our life gets into the digital world. People like the right things. So even if we're going into the digital world, people need to be protected. And here we get this cybersecurity agenda on top of the list. Well, frankly, some time ago, I used to believe that we were lagging behind in this area hopelessly. But Yuri, with his charisma, managed to persuade me otherwise. To say that we're not only lagging behind, but we are leaders in certain areas. I'd like to believe him, so be bold. Thank you.
Борис Юрьевич, вы уже неоднократно продавали российский кибербез первым лицам. Ну, вот расскажите, что в этот момент...
Продали ли?
Yes, that is true, but we are still to sell it. Yeah, so how do we lead this kind of life so that Maksud Shadaev tries to work with foreign countries and tries to create a single environment of cybersecurity within single open source code, which actually is pretty good.
It's something special. Why did it happen so? Because indeed, Maximov's charisma.
Потребитель, причем не очень продвинутый. Всего этого страшно боюсь, Владимир Петрович. Говорит, не надо бояться. Страшно боимся.
And we should not be afraid of this, because we have different problems, and previously there was a restaurant holding, and even we had so many problems, just in general, and I hope nobody heard that we were hacked. We actually have protection, we actually have security, and that is true. My point is that it opens a lot of different opportunities. We go into this digitalization without thinking anything else, and the world changes and you have to comply with the changes. But obviously there are new risks and the problems connected with those risks. And previously we did not have this kind of problems, and now we do. Different customers, different clients, businesses, companies, and now have an additional area of protection. In the 1990s, companies and people and customers had to protect from the so-called gang capitalism. People had to go and basically fight for survival. But now the business has changed, it's become more digital. You have to create an environment in this digital environment. So obviously, step by step, little by little, and once again, thanks to Maksud, we are not only selling, but we are also buying. That is true.
Денис, почему ты
Dennis,
свою жизнь в большой степени связал с кибербезом?
why have you connected your life with cybersecurity? Well, in my case, it was love relationship. It was natural for me to develop like this. Previously, we had a very big discussion on this, going from a hacker to a CEO, and we collected different hackers who became CEOs of many companies, and many of them previously worked at Positive Technologies. And this is something you can achieve. I think your company, when company becomes a CEO factory, I think it's a great success. But this is story number one. Here's the story number two. When I was not witnessing the maturing of our industry, and I do agree with previous speakers who mentioned this point, and the point being that currently we are living in a unique moment of time. The world is not ready to withstand cyber attacks which are aimed at the destruction of this world, but we are developing so fast that we might have a chance to prevent some kind of global catastrophe, and we have this kind of drive. Governments understand that there is a notion of cyber warfare and they can use it just like they can use nuclear weapon. But they do not really understand all the technical details of all those components, and because of that you can set up defense faster than they can understand how they can actually use this cyber warfare. And here I can see the main challenge, or at least of my generation, a little bit younger generation, actually be able to solve this security problem so that we'll be able to improve our IT systems so that this damage would be irreversible. So just to sum it up, why am I interested in being in this industry currently, right here, right now? And the reason is that there is a challenge that requires the best experts, the best engineers. Thank you, Denis, very much. Елена Владимировна, over to you.
Елена Владимировна, все-таки вы все-таки, вот я сколько вижу, вы с такой...
As far as I can tell,
с юношеским задором, вот...
you have this younger generation energy,
индустрию кибербезопасности.
and you get into the cybersecurity industry. And why do you do this? Why? Well, let us start with the fact that children is the first and foremost our target audience, which we or who we have to protect. We have to understand how they're raised, how they're nurtured, and what kind of profession they will choose in the future. And I do agree with the conclusions which we had and heard yesterday, and just as Denis said, we already have them today, that information security is a critical point for all the industries where we already have strategic leadership, where we expect this kind of leadership, and where we expect different breakthroughs in finance, in medicine, in transportation. All of those industries and areas depend on the people who will go there and who will choose them. And they will choose them even then we're just schoolboys and schoolgirls. And professional orientation is very, very important. It connects and concerns every one of us. So obviously, when we are talking about how do we create this kind of programs, how do we create these experts who will counteract new potential threats, this is very important. And I think this is critical. And we all should be very involved in this and nurture experts from their school days. I think this is very important, so that teachers and professors in school, in universities would have this basic competence and basic skills that would provide information security for their interests and for the interests of their children or students. Next point, we need to improve the qualification of these kind of specialists and experts. I mean, students, or I mean, teachers and professors. We need real experts from IT companies, from developers, so that they will be able to work on the educational programs together. We are talking about standards, and I'm sure you'll be able to discuss the standards very well. What kind of standards do we need here? And we need our standards in natural science and mathematics and physics, so that they will be aligned with the national goals, and we want them to be part of our educational system. Obviously, we have to translate the best experience, show the best practices, and work with the national centers to support younger generation and younger talents, and obviously work with the information security and cybersecurity that permeates all the level of our education, and an additional education from the president level to the lowest level at different universities. And this is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Елена.
Владимир Петрович, у меня к вам вопросик. Вот вы говорите,
Vladimir, my question to you. You say that we should not be afraid, but you are a digital person. You are very quick to respond on Telegram. You always have your mobile device at you. But this is not too far away when a computer would be able to imitate your voice, your logic of actions, and call somebody and impersonate you. How would you imagine your life would change when this happens? Are you dependent on this? Are you afraid of this? Or maybe we can say when this could potentially happen. Well, you know, there are some things you better not think about. And then your life will be brighter and better once you start thinking about them. You know, when a millipede would be asked what kind of leg she moves forward, left or right, or second left or fourth right, she actually stopped moving. That's why you should not think about bad things and keep moving on. I think that's a good answer. Maksud, question to you. We are talking about autonomous and driverless cars. Just imagine. Obviously, ministers will have, and we have ministers, we have driverless cars, we will have all of them. But imagine, you get inside your driverless Horus and you ride 150 kilometers per hour and you face the same autonomous car. What would you feel, and when will this happen?
просто
As a
жду
person
этого
who
момента,
does not have a driver's
потому что
license, I
это
actually
риск
wait
есть
for this
загорание,
kind of point. I
и я не
hope
испытываю
this will
страха.
be in the near
Уже
future. I'm not
несколько
afraid
раз
at all. I
ездил
don't have any fear.
в
I
беспилотном
actually
таком
rode
варианте.
a driverless
Это
car
очень круто.
multiple times,
Я
and
думаю,
I
в
think that was
ближайшие года
great.
3,
Ну,
5,
какой год?
I think this would happen in the next
7
three
лет,
to 5 years,
наверное,
maybe 7 years.
это уже практика будет входить в нашу жизнь.
This would
Когда
become
появятся области,
day-to-day
в которых
practice.
будут ездить только беспилотные автомобили?
And when we will
Мы уже
have
такие
the
есть.
regions
Вы
in our
напрасно,
country
например, в
where we have
Татарстане
only
уже
driverless
в городе
cars.
беспилотные
Well, actually, we have this kind of cars
Ну,
in
вопрос зрелости
Innopolis,
технологий, я
in
думаю, что здесь
Tatarstan.
очень много вопросов,
Okay, but when this
связанных
happened,
с как бы восприятием таким социальным беспилотных. Но мы видим же, у нас эти ездят беспилотные доставщики еды от Яндекса, они вызывают, мне кажется, огромное умиление, куча людей, значит, с ними фоткается. Я думаю, что это все придет в свое
I
время.
think it will all arrive
Технологии уже готовы. А по поводу дипфейков, мне кажется,
at
это,
some
конечно,
point in time.
следующий большой вызов.
Because the technologies are already there.
Вот, например,
As to
моим
deepfakes,
сотрудникам
I think
периодически
it's the
кто-то
next
от моего лица
big
пишет
challenge,
всё время.
Vladimir.
Вот.
For
И
instance,
это пока просто
my
пишут в
employees are
Телеграме,
being
да.
written
Скоро будут звонить,
all the time
наверное,
on my
моим
behalf,
голосом
and
какие-то
it's
команды давать,
just writing in
поручения,
Telegram
вот,
today,
а дальше
but
будут еще и в
perhaps
видеоформате это
quite
всё
soon
сопровождать.
they will start calling them in video format.
Просто чтобы это все
Yeah,
работало на, так сказать,
you need
эффективность.
to
Вы не
make it
поверите,
so
мне
that it
сейчас
should
перед
work
нашим разговором за
effectively.
10 минут позвонил Баранов, пропущенный звонок, что-то написал в Телеграме, и я, к сожалению,
You won't believe it, but right
пропустил
before
этот
this
звонок, мне прям было интересно, а что
conversation,
там мне должны были сказать.
I got a deepfake call, and unfortunately, I missed that call. I would be curious to know what they wanted to tell me. So if you're here, please call me back again after this session. Yuri, don't call. Just transfer the money. Okay.
Баранов, ты же искушенный
Dennis
технологий
Baranov,
человек. Вот какие
you're a
топ-3
very
технологии,
sophisticated person in technologies.
поменяли твою жизнь?
Which top three technologies have really affected your life? Well, an unexpected question. Well, you can take some time to think.
Да, да.
You know, you mean top three modern technologies? Yes, recent. You know, when they ask me things like that, I understand I'm an ultra conservative because it took people a lot of time to persuade me to take a MacBook instead of a Windows PC.
Мою жизнь, да, то есть в данный момент
My life, you mean? You're talking about me?
специфика, да, но конкретно, конечно, все-таки у меня очень жизнь так связана с работой.
Well, I don't know.
И я вот тоже, как вчера говорил, меня вот все, что
My life is my work, so.
оборудованием для
And just like I said, everything to do about hardware hacking, that impresses me a lot because, roughly speaking, if you spend half of your life saying, let's change a bit here, a bit there,
вот все эти действия, да, у этих ребят, там,
all
что они
these
делают,
guys, when you're looking at what they're doing,
там, не знаю, таких вещей, как жидкий азот,
they require such things as, you know, liquid nitrogen.
Можно было переткнуть из компа в комп, потом считать, потом еще что-то. То есть меня на самом деле эта история
So that we could, you know, plug it from one PC to another one. So I'm actually surprised and impressed by this whole story, which means that in our industry we can use things that are way beyond the purely IT world based on physics. For instance, you need to add some voltage for a second, not higher than a certain threshold.
Вторая история, конечно, это все, что связано с недоиспользованным потенциалом LLM-ов, да, то есть это то, что там, ну вот
The second story is about everything
то есть это прям, я потому что понимаю,
to
что
do
вот
with AI, ChatGPT, as we all know.
наталкиваешься на такую ситуацию.
I think it happens quite rarely in your life when you encounter a situation where there's a technology in the world that's not altogether accessible to you. And here I'm getting at this, you know, turning point when I talk to hackers, and quite a lot of them are Russian, by the way. And I understand that they started
ГПТ. А найди мне, пожалуйста, все куски кода в исходном коде
became
iPhone,
available.
там, Apple, да, который примерно похож на это. Ой, спасибо. А теперь напиши мне эксплойт, пожалуйста, под этот код.
So
Типа, ой,
just
спасибо.
saying,
Ты это в Apple, тебе
write me an
$100
exploit for this kind of code. Thank you. And then you exploit it, and they pay you tens of thousands of dollars. So I understand that it's not that easy in real life, but we'll all have to get ready to counter such things.
Вот, наверное, топ-3 я не назову, но вот топ-2 на данный момент это вот наше такое
in
некое
order to lag
преимущество в области именно вот
behind.
железа, да, вот безопасности именно железа, анализ защищенности.
So as
И
to make
отсутствие
sure
преимущества в
that we're
сфере,
always
где
ahead
оно
of the
нам, наверное,
game,
очень скоро станет так
and
необходимым.
we need to also close the gaps where we have
Тоже
them.
разговаривать на разных языках. И МГИМО, как вы там на испанском убеждали
You speak lots
президента.
of languages. I
Искусственный интеллект
saw you
точно
speak
позволит нам
Spanish,
скоро получить
trying to persuade the Spanish
переводчика
president to do
онлайн за
something.
границей.
So
Я
AI
уверен на
will soon
100%.
allow us to
Который будет, по
get
сути, по качеству
simultaneous
не уступать
interpretation
тем
provided
переводчикам,
online
которыми сейчас обладает либо президент, либо
with the
даже
quality
массовая аудитория.
not worse than those
Как это отразится, по
available
сути,
for
на
anyone, be that a president or mass audience.
профессии переводчиков?
So how will
И
reflect
что им делать?
on the profession of interpreters and
взаимодействиях с
well,
внешней средой,
if we're talking
кроме
about
того,
interactions
что
with the
правильно
external
перевести,
environment,
надо еще
in addition
что-то
to
говорить.
translate correctly, you also have to
Поэтому мне кажется,
understand
что в целом вот эта вот сфера межязыкового
what
общения,
to
она, конечно, не
translate.
сильно
So I
изменится.
think
Это будет просто еще одна технический
so
гаджет, который тебе будет удобен.
interlanguage
Ведь
communication
будет
will
он
not
есть, на самом деле. В онлайне
change
ты можешь, в
considerably.
смысле, в режиме
It'll be
реального
just a
времени ты
gadget
можешь его
that will
переводить, и это
be comfortable
достаточно
for you.
хороший
It's
звук,
already
например,
available
20 от жизни
online.
максимум.
So, and the
Да.
quality of this translation is
Вот,
quite good. So
поэтому
you're lagging behind
я
life,
просто хочу сказать,
Maximo.
что
I would just
вот
like
вы
to
сказали,
say,
что там
so you said
наступит какой-то момент, когда вот будет полная
some
защищенность. Мне
moment
кажется,
arrive
что так же, как
where
в ядерной гонке,
you
как
can
гонке там,
start
экономической,
feeling
никогда не
completely
наступит такой
protected.
момент.
I think
Все равно
that
будет
just
эта
like
гонка
in the nuclear
вооружения, но
race, in
только
the arms
гонка уже
race,
вооружения
in economic
технологий.
race,
И мне кажется, что сейчас есть даже все признаки того, что
this
произойдет
point
все
will
дальше.
never happen.
Я так чисто поверхностно
So,
вижу, да,
and
пытаюсь
looking
обозначить,
at the
далеко
signs of
я
what's going to
там
happen,
забыл уже даже
and I'm only looking at it
когда мы в школе
superficially.
проходили. Логарифм уже не помню, что такое.
I,
Вот, но вот смотря на это
quite an
так
old person,
со
I even
стороны,
forget
вижу, что сейчас
the high school
вся
mathematics.
эта
But
история
looking
зависит от двух, наверное,
from
самых главных вещей. Это
the side, I see
скорость
that the whole
вычислений,
story depends on two things.
квантовые
The
компьютеры вот
speed of
уже
computing,
как-то на
the
подходе.
quantum computing
А второе, то, что
are
самое
just
любимое,
about to arrive.
это энергетика,
And
да, которая
second,
необходима в значительно
just
больших количествах. Я бы хотел
energy.
бы сказать, что здесь
And here,
есть
I'd like
решения,
to
которые
say
тоже
that
вот те, кто
there are
интересуется этим
solutions
вопросом,
here
можно обратить внимание, потому что
who
скоро у нас будет
should be
бесплатное совершенно электричество, и
taken
будет
account
буквально
of.
очень скоро, да, потому
And
что
I'm
сегодня
sure
уже
that
ветрильные
free
сильные
electric
генераторы,
power
то, что
will become
вырабатывается
available,
бесплатно
and it'll
электричество
happen quite soon.
без
So neutrino
других
generators
технологий,
generating free
бесплатного
energy of
атмосферного
other
электричества,
technologies,
тонких
or even free atmospheric
энергий, то,
electricity,
что как
thin
бы
energies,
считается и было
fine
когда-то у
energies,
древних цивилизаций в загашнике.
that
Вот это тоже все
people
вернется.
believe that
Поэтому я думаю,
the
что вот
ancient
эта
civilization had.
гонка вооружения, она будет без конца идти. И
Ну а все-таки что с людьми?
So I think it'll come back.
Уменьшится количество переводчиков или нет?
Well,
они
will the
исчезнут.
number of translators go down? They will
Хорошо,
disappear.
дипломаты все равно останутся, и бизнесмены.
But diplomats will still
Кто еще останется? Производители
exist, and
шампанского.
business people. You know who will stay in the market as well? Champagne manufacturers.
Елена Владимировна, у меня к вам вопрос.
Елена,
Скажите, вот смотрите,
I have
мы
a
учим
question for
людей,
you.
потом учат,
So we're teaching people.
наученные люди делают какую-то индустрию.
Then the people we have trained
Обобщает их опыт и, по сути, выдавливает их из нашей жизни, этих людей. Собственно,
and
получается,
gets
искусственный интеллект учится на
takes
опыте
these people
человека, а
out
потом
of
его
our
убирает.
life. So it
Не
looks like
является ли это
AI
тупиковой ситуацией?
is
В какой-то момент мы
learning
будем
on
иметь
the
достаточно
experience
уже
of
стабильный искусственный
humans
интеллект,
and then
который
gets rid
делает
of
нам
humans.
работу, но не
Might it not
сохранится
get us into a
творческая
blind
составляющая.
alley
Вы как человек,
where
который
AI will be doing all the job, but
тонко чувствует
there won't be any place
талант
for the
человека,
creative element.
это
You as a
описываете?
person who feel human talent very intensely. How do you feel about that?
Включите звук, пожалуйста.
Can you switch the mic on, please?
Я думаю, что мы все чувствуем,
I think
что нам нужны
we
инженеры.
all
Нам
feel
нужны
that
инженеры
we
для
need
того, чтобы
engineers. We need
оставаться одним из
engineers
лидеров
in order to
отрасли
stay
разработки, для того,
being
чтобы становиться
industry
глобальным
leaders, in
лидером.
developers,
И
to become the
вот эта
global
творческая
leader. And
составляющая,
this
она действительно
creative
сложна
component
для
is indeed
обоснования, но если она есть, И если человек в ней как бы сформировался, то он
if
действительно
it's
может
there,
создать,
and if a person
ну, вот те
has
системы, о
shaped
которых Денис
themselves
говорил,
in
вот
it, they indeed
самозащищающиеся,
can create systems that
самообучающиеся
Dennis
системы. И в этом
mentioned,
плане, наверное, эти системы
self-learning,
должны опережать те риски, о
self-protecting
которых вы
systems.
говорите.
And
Но это
in this
если
respect,
только в
these
том
systems
случае,
should
когда
stay
мы
ahead of the risks that you are talking
научимся
about.
даже в
But it
школе,
can only happen
в
if
университете
we learn
учить
as
не
early as
просто
the high
актуальным
school and
сегодня
then on in the
подходам, а вот
university
тем принципам разработки,
to
которые мы
not
хотели
only
бы
teach
заложить для того,
the
чтобы
current
такие системы
approaches, but the
создавались.
principles of
Чтобы мы всегда были лидерами в математическом и физическом
concept
образовании в школе.
when
Вот нам
creating such
надо
systems.
сейчас
So
понять, что для
we
нас
need
это
to understand
основа основ. Не просто для
that
каждого сидящего
starting
на
this
сцене, в зале,
as early as in the high
сохранить и
school
развивать
is
вот
the
эту
very important thing
естественно-научную
that
математическую
we
школу
need
для
to
того,
work
чтобы
on to
создавать и
retain
дальше такие
the natural
сервисы, которые у нас
science
есть. Например,
culture
государственные услуги, но мне кажется, такого
existing in this
сервиса
country.
в мире
For
нету. И
instance, we
Яндекс,
now
и
have government
ВКонтакте — это
services
те компании,
in
которые
Russia
напрямую
that I think
садись,
are
они
better
этого не
than in
скрывают,
any
в них
other
стратегиях
country of the world.
написано, вот
And
насколько
such
хорошо будет
companies
изучаться математика и
uh,
физика в школах.
that work
Вот.
in
А для того, чтобы вот эту
this
среду
field
нам создавать, но это
rely
высокотонкая
on
вещь.
the
Мы считаем, что вот Сириус претендует на среду развития.
knowledge
Среда
of the school
развития —
and then
такая
university.
экосистема, которая у нас
So,
сформировалась,
in order to
которая
make sure that
пронизывает
it
и
keeps going
применяет на
this way,
каждом уровне
we need
вот те технологии, о которых
to
вы сегодня говорите. То
build
есть мы,
such
когда
an
проектируем, мы
ecosystem
закладываем какие-то
that
принципиальные базовые
should
решения в проект. Мы
have
понимаем, что только так
this as
обеспечивается комплексная
the
безопасность. То
foundation of
есть
their structure.
мы считаем, что нужны
We believe
многофункциональные
that
специалисты, чтобы команды, которые
multifunctional
сформировали, они должны
specialists
быть
and professionals are required
междисциплинарными, а задачи
so that the
реальные и
teams
даже доступны на решение, если ты еще в школе. И тогда вот эти среды, они нам и будут порождать тех специалистов, тех инженеров, тех лидеров, которые
cross-disciplinary.
будут искать новые решения. И в
And
этом плане, конечно же, не будет соревнования, будет использование
leaders,
технологий
thought leaders
под
should
решение глобальных
exist
задач, которые,
to
конечно же,
find
пронизывают
new and novel
отрасли, и, наверное, ни
solutions.
одна из них не останется прежней. Но, тем не менее,
Every industry
я
will be
ожидаю,
affected
ну, как бы
by the progress.
позитивных изменений, а
And
позитивные
I
изменения — это
expect
изменение
positive
качества
change.
жизни,
And
это
the
улучшение
positive change
каких-то
is about
процессов,
changing the
это
quality
рост
of life,
экономики и
improving some
лидерства
processes,
России.
growth of the
Поэтому
economy, and
я
leadership of
оптимистично
Russia.
смотрю в
So
будущее,
I
и
am
кажется,
actually
что
quite
есть
optimistic
несомненные
thinking about the
перспективы.
future.
Это
And I believe
хорошо,
we have the tools.
педагогические технологии, если хотите. Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Is
Владимир Петрович, а у меня к вам вопрос.
such a
Вот у
tool.
вас философский,
Vladimir, I have a question
отношение
to you.
практически к любому
You have a
жизненному вопросу.
philosophical
Вам
attitude
не жалко
to
тех людей,
basically every
которые, в общем-то, на
question
протяжении
of
почти всей
life.
жизни, может быть, имели какую-то профессию,
Do you
потом
not
пришли технологии, стали
have
все
pity on those
научными?
people who spent their whole life in some industry and then a technology arrives and say that we don't need it anymore? I take a pity on you because just like Boris said, Maxim,
Это вы все ждали, да, чтобы сказать это?
about you are not lagging behind. But do you have pity of people? Well, you know what? I don't have any people, any pity. Not in the sense whether I pity them or not, but every person has an opportunity of trying themselves in something new. And just like American systems technology experts say, that people should change everything once in 5 or 7 years. Change a job or change the area of activities. I used to disagree with that, and then I understood that there's something in it. You need to keep your brain busy. Once there's no stress on your brain, the mechanism of self-destruction comes into play. So people should be able to meet challenges, to overcome these challenges, and to love these challenges.
Еще один вопрос меня волнует. Вот смотрите, вот технологии позволили нам, нашей цивилизации, пойти по пути так называемой уберизации. когда появляется
So
некая
there's this
события,
way
и
of so-called
производители
Uberization,
услуг или продуктов,
where a certain
которая
stratum
заставляет
appears between the
производителей
user
услуг
and the
делать
producer
свой продукт
that
качественнее, дешевле,
makes
конкурировать. И, в
the
общем-то,
producers
есть
of a
много
product to make
примеров
their product
агрегаторов,
high
которые собирают
quality,
бизнес под собой
cheaper. You
и
know, we have lots of
начинают, по сути, над
aggregators
ним доминировать.
that collect businesses
И в какой-то момент времени даже компании, которые попали вот в эту мясорубку,
under themselves and
они
start
начинают
dominating
стагнировать.
over them. And at some
Ну, то
point
есть
in
у нас
time,
есть
even the
агрегаторы
companies who got
такси, у
into
нас есть
this meat
агрегаторы
grinder
магазинов,
start stagnating.
и
For instance, we
индивидуальность
have taxi
отдельно взятого
aggregators,
бизнеса, она начинает
retail
пропадать. У
aggregators,
нас
and the
ну, даже
individuality,
помню общество
uniqueness
давайте не
of
дать.
every
Но тем не
business
менее,
starts going away.
Максут,
I'm
ты
not going to give a name, but
удивленно
Maksud,
смотришь.
you're
Ты как
looking at me
чувствуешь?
with surprised eyes. But how do you feel?
Что кто-то стагнирует.
I'm
Ну,
surprised
есть
to
даже
hear
компании,
that
которые пропадают,
anyone is
которые
stagnating
не проявляют свою индивидуальность, потому что они становятся винтиком в машине
out
под
of the
названием
market.
вот этот самый marketplace. И раньше они могли сделать
They
такую
just get
рекламу,
lost
кампанию,
in the
такой
machine
маркетинг. А сейчас все,
called
они просто
marketplace. In
винтики.
the past,
Они
they
обеспечивают
could
цену,
individualize, they
скорость
could
и
do the
все.
marketing,
И в
and
этот
now they're
момент,
just a
как с
clog.
искусственным
They're
интеллектом,
just a cog
появляется некая площадка,
in
которая
the big
начинает
machine.
доминировать над всей
And the
индустрией.
same thing
Вот
happens
ты как
with
чувствуешь, не
AI.
появится ли
Just
такая у нас еще
what do you
одна
think?
проблема,
Might
что
we not
сейчас это
get
хорошо, а потом это
into
станет
another
плохо?
problem that now
Ну, а я считаю,
it looks
наоборот,
good and then it
что
will
те же
become
самые
bad?
маркетплейсы
Well,
дают
I think
многим
quite
возможность
differently.
выйти
I
на
think
рынок с
marketplaces offer
конкурентоспособными
a lot of
товарами и честно конкурировать. И в этом смысле, наоборот, эти границы
people
стираются,
opportunities
становятся
to enter the market with
бесшовными.
competitive
Вот. Но
products
побеждает тот,
and
кто сильнее,
to
это
compete
очевидно.
fairly. So in
Но это
this
новая
sense,
реальность, и
these
вопрос, кто
boundaries go
ее,
away, become seamless. But of
кто
course, it's the
понимает и
strongest who
умеет
win, but
использовать
that's the
ее
reality.
преимущества, тот
And so the
выигрывает.
question
Те
who
компании,
understand
которые
how to
остаются
use
заложниками
the
старых моделей, как эта технология
advantages, they
работает,
win.
к
Those
сожалению,
who
вынуждены
stay
уйти.
with the old models,
Поэтому, конечно,
they
вопрос
unfortunately have to
адаптивности,
leave. Yes, so it's a
постоянного, так
question
сказать,
about
совершенствования своих процессов,
adaptability,
внедрения
about
новых
being able
технологий.
to continuously improve and
Борис Юрьевич,
implement new
есть такое. Ну,
technologies.
я согласен
Boris,
с
do you have
Максутом,
anything to
конечно,
add? Well,
Бизнес в конкуренции только развивается. Конкуренция необходима,
I
и,
agree with
конечно, кто-то
Maksud, of
умирает,
course.
кто-то растет. Но сегодняшние новые цифровые
Competition
платформы, они
is
дают
indispensable
возможность
for
нам
business.
значительно повысить
And
эффективность
in competition, somebody is dying out, other people are growing. But today, our goal is to improve the efficiency of business. Taxi is actually the worst example because I don't know how many taxi drivers there are today on the road. It's like a supernova. It will flash and then
сейчас еще doполнительное регулирование, там не обяжет на всех
go away. No, no,
доставщиков
no.
повесить номер индивидуальный, да, еды,
Of
которые
course,
доставляют еду,
if
то тогда мы
you take all the
в этом
delivery
случае, наверное,
people
будет
and
стагнировать. А так, это свобода, это возможность использовать новые
keep
платформы,
them under
новые
firm
технологии
state
для
control,
себя.
then it will
Они же
stagnate.
все
But
индивидуальны,
the
все
way it is happening,
самозанятые,
it's a way for everyone
от
to
себя зависимые,
enjoy
это люди,
freedom.
живущие свободной жизнью.
They're all self-employed.
Кстати,
They have their own free lives.
появилось новое, я для себя это
And by
не
the
знал,
way,
что даже на
a new thing
платформах
arrived. I hadn't known it.
большие эти Wildberries, они занимаются ежедневной занятостью. Для меня это было откровение. Человек хочет работает, хочет не работает. Пришел сегодня, получил работу.
There's this advertising, so being able, so working here is freedom of your life. So it's an absolutely new kind of freedom. So if you want to work today, you work today. But if you want to take a day off, you don't.
Я думаю, что 200
And for
виноделин,
platforms, I think
как они выйдут к потребителям,
wine industry is developing quite fast. So there are 200 wineries. How will
через интернет, но доставки на дом. Там клик
they get to the end user? So now platforms are being created that provide these very small producers an opportunity to find their user. Is this bad? Or the contrary, it's very good. Who does know? Vino.ru. This is the
Максут, я насколько
platform.
знаю, тебе надо сейчас будет скоро
Maksud,
бежать.
as far as I know, you'll soon have to leave. Can you please
поделиться своими мыслями, вот какие
share
технологии
your thoughts
победят какие-нибудь наши такие
about what kind of
сложности?
technologies
Там, пробки,
of the future will win?
еще что-то. Какие,
Will be
какие
able
проблемы
to
будут
win
побеждены
some
технологиями в
really
ближайшие-
bad
ближайшие
problems that we experience,
допустим.
such as traffic jams, I don't know,
Надо взять
whatever.
комит какой-то, да?
So Tell us that and we'll leave you, let you go. Well, of course, we understand that this discussion about how technologies are going to win everyone is not happening for the first time. I remember Steve Jobs was saying when the PC arrived and everybody was panicking, but Steve Jobs said that PC is a bike for your brain. But
И все технологии просто повышают эффективность
we hope.
КПД.
And all the technologies are just tools to improve the efficiency. I don't know, because we are fans of digital. We believe that digital technologies can give a huge leap of efficiency in every industry, healthcare, traffic control, even education, even though it's a very conservative sphere, but there are things where digital technologies can offer absolutely new opportunities.
Самый существенный скачок за счет технологий в ближайшие 20 лет.
The outcome will be the best. I think healthcare, for sure, that will be number one. And then perhaps, yes, everything to do with roads and government. Soon, government officials will be making super effective solutions because AI will have, except for the diplomats. AI will not be able to sell cybersecurity to the Middle East countries.
Друзья, мы тогда вынуждены отпустить Максута Игоревича. Высшее начальство, как всегда, вызывает не вовремя. Спасибо большое, Максут.
Maksud, thank you very much.
Владимир Петрович, а вы как чувствуете?
Vladimir, question to you. What do you feel?
Нет.
Or should I go after Maksud? No, not yet.
Какие топ-3 индустрии
What will be the top 3 industries
изменятся наибольшим образом
that will change the most thanks to the technologies in terms of quality of life of just normal human beings? Well, do I think differently from Maksud? Obviously, no. After you gave the floor to Maksud and he gave his appearance and his point of view, obviously, I would agree with Maksud. I do have my experience.
речными трамвайчиками?
Why did you start working with river electric trams? Well, because of despair.
Поделитесь своими ощущениями от этой
Please
безысходности.
share your feelings, please share your experience. Well, to be honest, and jokes aside,
Мы до 21 года жили
until 2021, we lived in a specific paradigm
что все купим.
where we thought that it's possible to buy everything. And basically, we've destroyed everything. Previously, there were only 2 countries that had fundamental science, basic science, the United States and the Soviet Union.
Разрушили это дело,
In years, we've destroyed it all.
фундаментальную науку,
The basic science,
прикладную науку. И
applied science, industry.
когда мы пришли
And
к ощущению, что все нужно создавать снова, и
when we've
самим,
come to the realization that everything has to be created once again from scratch, yes, we could have used previous experience, previous developments with 30 to 40 years old. We realized that it's not possible to buy everything.
и, по большому счету сейчас идет
And truth to be told,
это невидимое.
there is
Революция в каждой
a
отрасли.
hidden revolution in any industry. It can be microelectronics,
будь то вот
it can be
энергетики, будь то отрасль,
electric transportation, atomic energy,
значит, кибербезопасности и так далее.
cybersecurity, and the list
И
goes
это на
on
самом
and
деле,
on. And
огромная
in
напряженная
reality,
работа.
this is a very strenuous work.
Недостаток, который мы сейчас сегодня все понимаем и осознаем,
The
потому что
lack
нас очень мало.
of that which we
Вот нас миллионов
feel
500,
and
600.
think right now is that
Весь остальной
we
мир
are
в
not
положении.
enough. If we
сожалению,
had
нас мало,
500 million, 600
мы не
million,
можем
that would have been
одновременно
enough.
все
But
технологии
unfortunately, we don't have enough people. We cannot develop the technologies even
Но целый ряд
what
критических технологий,
what
без
it was
которых
like during
страна
the
не может
Soviet
существовать.
Union. But there is a range, a list of critical technologies which the country cannot live without. We started to develop them. Yes,
того, что уже в мире достигнуто, но тем не
maybe we have to reinvent whatever the rest of the world already have.
огромное количество выходит
But what kind of technologies?
все пересказаны технологии. Я, честно говоря,
All the technologies, so they've already mentioned.
десяток назвать,
I can give you a dozen of
три
them.
назвать, могу одну
I
назвать.
can give you 3 of them, 1 of them.
Выстрелит.
It doesn't really matter.
Конечно,
Maybe they work, maybe they won't.
серьезные исследователи
It is better to
изучают.
talk to serious researchers and scientists. They know better.
Например,
And when I'm asked, like you just asked me,
почему занялись электрическими?
why did you start working
Это не
with
только корабли,
electric transportation?
автомобили, это
It wasn't just trams, it wasn't just ships, it was cars, UAVs, drones,
любая техника, которая движется.
basically anything that can move, any mechanism that can move. And the reason is simple. The technology of the future in that industry,
Номер один — это
if I set priorities, then number one would be nuclear power plants. If we can create them compact and small so that they can be fit inside the car, then this will be the future.
водородная энергетика.
Point number two is
Водородная энергетика
hydrogen energy.
она наиболее
And the
эффективная,
reason is simple. It's the most efficient, it's the most interesting one,
более приемлемая к нашей
and it is the most acceptable or rather suitable for our country with its
электрическая.
enormous size and differences in temperatures.
Да,
Third is electricity.
это наиболее
It is true that currently it's the most developed area because we've been working here for at least 24 of years, and not just in theory,
говорят,
but
промышленном. И
in
четвертое,
the industrial sense.
область, которая
And point number four is the classical area,
электрические, дизельные, бензиновые, керосиновые
is
двигатели.
gasoline, kerosene, or all these, let's say, old school engines.
Что
And that is why
сумеет ли мировая промышленность сделать ядерные
I'm saying that if the global industry will be able to create a compact nuclear
и умещались
reactor so that it will be safe and secure and it would fit inside the car and would run for hundreds of years. Oh, when I mean car, I mean just many means of transportation. We will be able to create hydrogen energy safe and secure
повсеместно распространенный, потому что
and with ubiquitous use so that everybody would use it everywhere. Because there is a very big distance between industrial use and commercial use.
разработки, они просто не добегают.
Even many companies who have unique developments, they do not get to the production stage.
Вот
And the reason is simple. The system
система инноваций, она в нашей стране
that
достаточно
promotes and punishes innovation is a little bit rigid in our country.
трансформацию надо отдать.
And currently it undergoes a transformation, this has to be told, but it's basically far from being perfect. So there is no reason thinking about what will be the top 3 technologies, because you have to work in every direction. And then
Покажет, что
the life will tell. Life will tell what will be the top 3. If we now discard any of these, if we discard quantum technologies or photonics, and people say that quantum technologies is the next future application, but we are very, very far from the practical application. Even the optimists say it will be at least in 20, 30 years. Then it will be only rudimentary, it will never develop. So we should not specify and prioritize 1 or 2 or 3 technologies. We should work on all of them. And then the life will tell us, will show us the way, and it will demonstrate the quintessence of the future.
технологические
And this is the development of technological initiatives and the rest.
ну, многие не помнят, молодежь. А я-то помню,
There
как
are many
называлась
younger people
связь.
here, but I do remember how communication started.
Как говорят,
Steve Jobs
за сумасшедшего, когда он говорил,
was considered a madman when he said that a mobile phone would change
это абсолютно
people's lives so much.
неотъемлемая
But now this is the reality. It is part of our life. It is part of basically our clothes. You cannot go outside without a mobile phone. They cannot exist without a mobile phone. And it was, what, 20 years, 30 years, and that's all. So I do not want to be a prophet and say that these will be the three technologies that will change the world. Or maybe these are the three technologies which we should double down on. We should work on all of them. Thank you, Vladimir, but I do have one more question. First, we dreamt about a mobile phone that we'll have in a pocket and we'll get all the capabilities and information. But now the humanity started to fight itself in the sense that we spend too much time with the phone. How much time do you spend with your phone? Very, very few hours. 1 hour, 2 hours? Yuri, you know, it is impossible to time your life. You can never tell what would happen next. I don't spend a lot of time with the mobile phone. I know people who spend a lot of time there, but this is basically a disease. I have enough communication with my colleagues. I do not need to use this phone. Boris, and how much time do you spend? You even spend right now? Yes, I am trying to see how much time I spend with my phone. I'm not really an advanced user, I have to look for it. Obviously, it takes a lot of time. Not just mobile phone, all the gadgets and all the kinds of computers and helpers and advisors that follow your life from morning to the evening. Obviously, the life has changed, that is true. And I do remember the abacus, this, you know, the old school way to count things and money. Vladimir probably does not remember, but I do remember. And all of that is very visible. And probably younger generation will face it too in the future because their technologies will also change. But just to think what happened in our lives, that was amazing. These were amazing changes, and we had basically skin in the game. We were involved in these technologies. So how much time do you spend with your mobile phone? Well, you even have to read the news, and so many bad news happens all the time. So how much time do you spend per day? I want to know how many hours do you spend per day using your phone? Well, I know other people who are so diligent in asking for this number. I probably spend 3 to 4 hours per day, obviously using my phone and using my PC. I think you are doing the right thing. You should do this. Elena Vladimirovna, how much time do you spend using your phone? Obviously, you're working with the phone, with the computer, but how much time do you spend there? Well, I can say that I do not separate my life with the phone and without the phone, because using these technologies expands our potential, intellectual potential, research potential, organizational, managerial potential. It is a part of the job. And if I may, I would like to say a few words. I would like to support Vladimir. He provided a very good metaphors. We have to love challenges, and we have to translate those challenges to children, because when we translate them into an area which we really like, when we love our challenge, then we can join like-minded people at the level that children will define and decide what they will work on in the future. And previously we were working on the format which later became serious. And in this sense, Yuri, I hope that this kind of quality, which I believe is obvious, that technologies expand your abilities as a human being, and this challenge will be loved and liked and followed by many people in our country. We will consolidate our efforts, and technologies will expand and improve our capabilities. We will have more research capabilities, we will be working on new medicine, emulating molecules using supercomputers to create new drugs and medicine, or maybe different platforms that will bring us together, not just for sales.
чего, ну даже шампанского, да, а технологий, которые нас будут
But these
объединять
kind of
для того,
technologies
чтобы
that
искать
will bring
ответы на
us
вот те самые
together
большие
to
вызовы,
look
которые
for
будут
answers,
включать инновации следующего
ways to
уровня.
tackle
Тогда,
challenges,
наверное, эти
innovations
инновации,
of the
поскольку
next
они,
level.
от них
And
очень
then,
многие
and
люди
these kind of
зависят, и
innovations, because
опять они
many people
будут
will
использовать
depend on these
технологии для того,
innovations and
чтобы
they will
работать
use
вместе с
these
ними,
kind of
они будут
technologies to work
объединять
with
их,
them,
менять
they
качество
will
жизни.
join
Поэтому вот,
people
конечно,
together
я
and they will
считаю, что
change the
это
quality
использование
of
все-таки
our
это
lives.
неплохо,
So
это
I
не
think using
потеря, а
technologies is
прирост,
not
временем
wasting
критическая
time, you actually
величина,
gain
и мы
time
все
if you can
прирастаем к
expand
этим
your
технологиям,
capabilities.
если,
And
ну,
we
как сказал, на чистое
get
сердце,
to use
помыслы, и у
new
нас
and
очень
new
высокие
technologies
задачи.
if
То есть
we
вот
have good
мое ощущение,
ideas
что
at
если
heart.
технология
So I believe
играет на
that if
понижение, то
technology
это потеря.
decreases your
А если мы
capabilities,
все
then it's
вместе
bad.
идем на
But if
повышение
we
и
are working
ставим,
together and we
например,
can do
задачи
more
по
and we can
экологическому
achieve more, maybe
мониторингу,
we want to
новой
achieve
энергетики, контролю
ecological
возобновления
control,
лесных
energy,
ресурсов,
maybe deforestation,
мониторингу проблем изменения
working
климата,
with the
для этого всего
deforestation
используем
problem,
технологии, и хоть все
tackling climate
время, как
change.
говорится, наблюдаем в реальном
And
времени,
when
то,
we
наверное, это
monitor
все нам
them
в плюс.
on a constant
И,
basis,
конечно, я
then
очень
it's a
еще
positive
надеюсь,
use of
вот,
technology.
что
And I
продолжительность
do
жизни и
hope
здоровья тоже
that we will
прирастет от
be more
использования
longevity
технологий.
and we will
Вот,
have
спасибо.
increased health thanks to the technologies. That's all I wanted to say.
Мне кажется, знаете, ребят, мне кажется, интересная мысль заключается в том, что
You know,
в
I
нашей реальной
think there is
жизни
a
у нас
great idea that in
выбор
our
между тем,
lives
чем заняться,
we have a
работой,
choice
спортом,
between what we
тунеядством,
can do some
носил
sports,
такой
being
фундаментальный
idle,
характер. Возможно,
work.
пойти либо в одну,
And
либо
previously
в
it was a
вторую, либо в третью.
fundamental.
А
You
в телефоне
had
получается,
to
что вы
choose
всего лишь
either
напрасную
one
связь
of them.
с тем
But with the
поисковым
phone,
действием.
you
Вот
can
работаешь,
just
действием занимаешься,
swipe an icon.
удовольствием, а
Here
здесь
you are
еще.
working,
Понятно, что
here
еще раз,
you're getting pleasure, and
все-таки
here you're doing something else.
воспитанный в Советском Союзе
Vladimir,
человек
I think
дисциплину для
people
него не
who are
пустой звук.
raised and born
Поэтому
in
я
Soviet
думаю,
Union
что
know
его
about
победа над
discipline
технологиями заключается в том,
from
что
their
он
practice. And
нажимает правильные иконки.
this
А нам,
victory over technologies
не нам, а
that
вот
he
молодежи,
can pick the
тяжелее.
right
Это
icons.
вот
But for us,
такое
for younger
называется
generation,
клиповое
it is
мышление.
more
Это все.
difficult.
Ты вот
This is
чем
called the
смотришь, вроде ты
clip
работал, а сейчас уже
mentality. You
занимаешься
were working,
удовольствием каким-то.
but now
И
you're
поэтому
taking
жизнь
pleasure,
там проходит. Денис, у тебя,
and
кстати, как?
thus the life passes by. Dennis, what can you tell us about?
Неравномерно, да?
Well, I do agree. It's a little bit uneven.
Предыдущие темы одновременно.
If we talk about the previous two topics altogether, maybe top one, phones, and so on. Obviously, I am one of those who uses phone 6 hours, even more per day, and I think this is not enough. In terms of technological breakthroughs, which I'm waiting for, and you know the best technology we discussed it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I do understand that the main breakthrough we will see in our lives is with the human interaction itself.
Тема называется HMI, да, как бы человек-машинный.
There is a topic called human-machine interface.
Я вот последние 15 лет я смотрю вот.
And during the last 15 years, I'm looking at this keyboard, and a person in the 21st century can go to space, can go basically anywhere, but in order to transfer their
вот эти механической какой-то штуки, которую изобрели там, не знаю, там пару веков, наверное, назад, как бы, да, то есть вот в своей самой сути. Ну вот да, то есть условно, то есть и это
все, на что мы смогли.
И это выглядит просто как-то вот бесчеловечески тупо, как бы, да, на самом деле в своем подходе, да, поэтому тут на самом деле трек я вижу.
So, and actually, it's quite dumb.
Которую мы все с вами, ребята,
So,
застанем.
one story that we'll all see happen is about being able to exchange images between each other. So you all know companies like Neuralink. So these are the first story that we'll see combinations of neural networks, implantations, and creating some noosphere, sphere of intellect. It's a great story. It's not a scary story, it's a great story. And by the way, there's technology. So I think the breakthrough number one would be about direct exchange of images between people. So there's even more. It's not even. It's not only about how to, exchange an image, but also to share the thought field. So you now have a face as your interface with the world. But if it's going to be a Neuralink, well, what do you mean if? It's already there. But if it's going to happen at the level of your thoughts, and you won't be able to think openly because the world will read your thoughts, well, joint or shared access to each other's half thoughts. So if you think about how this world will look, I have two questions. First, what us as the humankind, or each of us as a specific person, this will lead to? Will the world become better or not? And then how the world of cybersecurity will look? Because it's not going to be limited to devices. It's going to be include people. I am actually a big technology fan. I'm all for the development, moving from buttons to voice, from voice to recognition, to automatic translation, so on and so forth. Because what's the essence? The essence of it is to offer people the maximum opportunity to realize their potential, to apply it in the sphere that you like and where you can do something. So actually, the whole purpose is to allow people realizing their potential to the full. If somebody loves mathematics, then why not offer them tools and conditions so they can do it? So I see a huge potential to free up this untapped energy. And the second story that sounded several times together, like fear kills everything, you said. With this approach, I forget about Maksut, who's driving at 150 kilometers an hour on autopilot. Of course, nobody is going to stop him now because he's too much of a successful minister, yes. And also because the whole approach is catastrophically not safe. But another track in our development that I was saying is about our specific area, cybersecurity, because our mission is to help people fight with fear, a seamless fight with fear. Just like a story from real life. I recently had a birthday, and they offered me a street ball, machine gun. So I go home, I take it in my hands, in the lift. People are coming in, out, there are cameras. I go out to go past the security. And this, paintball submachine gun looks exactly like a real one. And so the security guy is not paying attention at me. And I go to the parking lots, and nobody gives a damn. You remember when COVID-19 happened, they were punishing us for not wearing a mask. But here, I'm wearing a machine gun, and nobody cares. So I think, and when you try to take a computer from the office, they will immediately stop you, put you on the ground. And machine gun, you can do it because it's not part of the procedure. So Vladimir, would it be, would you consider it interesting to find yourself in the same space with somebody else, talking directly through Neuralink? No, I don't want it. Because you're scared? No, it's not about fear. Fear is a natural human feeling that everyone should have. People who say that they are not afraid of anything, so they don't exist. But you know what? We've just been talking about disruptive technologies, and I thought there are lots of them, a lot of breakthrough technologies, but will they change the quality of life in a big way? For instance, imagine that all the aircraft, trains, vehicles will be using green power. Will it change the human life? Not really. They will keep flying just as they did. That can change lives of a small portion of people directly involved with this industry, but it's not going to change the life of the humankind. Imagine 30 or 40 years past. So the past 30 years, for instance, has anything arrived that changed human life in a really big way? I can only mention one thing, the phone, and everything to do with it. As to anything else, nothing really happened. But look, I think it's the evolution of the same technology, connectivity. So first we got the internet, so we stopped needing to go to the library to learn something. Then AI appeared that allows getting knowledge in a very friendly way. And now Neuralink will arrive. Well, these are just stages of the way, but it's not what people were dreaming in the big way. It can, change the life of some stratum of people who do science. It's good in principle, but on the whole, it's not going to produce a big impact on the life of the humankind. So look, we're talking about the continuity of big business when one company can continue what the previous team was doing. We are forced to restore each other's appearance through observation, through words, and this is a very narrow interface between two or three people. Direct neural connection would considerably improve the experience of exchanging ideas. Well, talk to Boris. Boris, please intercept. Thank you, Vladimir. Once again, what will you keep having? Where will you be in this story? So today we were preparing to come here, thinking about what we wanted to say and what we didn't. And with technology like that, you know it before I say anything, but that's good. No, where is the end of privacy? Where's the border between yourself and the real world? It's a very philosophical question. It's a very good system for security, but not cyber, because nothing will be hidden from the world. In your brain, you have nothing that will be private to you. That will be open to the whole world, and you don't need to say, well, hey, I have a hypothesis proven by practice that if you take your phone and take a look at all your audio, video, chats.
Это все прошлое. А мысли — это будущее. Ты рождаешь, ты творишь. Это будущее.
These are all things of the past, but thoughts are about the future. You create, you bring things to bear. But once again, there's creativity, creation, and there's a processing of the current information. Of the existing information. Well, I agree with what you said. Boris, how much time a day are you spending in the creative condition rather than the one? So, your questions are quite hard. Sometimes I spend the whole day in it, or sometimes it's, well, nothing really happens for a whole month. It's all happening somewhere there. The brain is a retransmitter.
Громко сказано, во Вселенной.
It's a retransmitter of what's happening high above in the universe. That depends on how well you're able to tune to the wavelength. So in that case, if you build a neural link, that will be part of the implementation of God's designs. And you should be a friend of that. Elena, would you be interested to think about something with someone in the same thought space, to exchange feelings, emotions, not through words or gestures, but just through this, connection? Mind connection. I would be very curious, and I think looking for a metaphor. I really feel that we are experiencing a shortage of metaphors. Research of ourselves, of human capabilities, humanitarian research, because physics and mathematics research has been on the front line for a long time. Anything else was as if in existence. And all this integrated research that involves creativity, thinking, they also require development. What you said, the whole nature of human interaction is changing. It's just a fact of life. It is. And I think that this retransmitter wouldn't work on its own. It will only work when there's a system of education, when there are educational curricula, and in this way, we will be able to broadcasting our ideas of the future. I agree when I say that fantasy is about images of the past, and we need to think in terms of science fiction about the future together. But as the
работодателей. И вот мне кажется, тот формат образовательной программы, который мы с
fundamental
вами,
education,
Юрий, делаем в Сириусе, да, вот с командой
the one we're
это
building
как
in
раз
Sirius together with the
модель,
positive
которая
technology
будет
team,
лучше
a model
ретранслировать
that
наше общее
will do a better
видение
job
будущего,
retransmitting our
основанное на хорошей
common
базе,
vision of the
базе
future,
подготовки
based on a very good
специалистов и
foundation, the
инженеров.
foundation
И
of
вот почему мне
training and
еще
teaching
интересно
new
обмениваться
professionals and
образами, потому
engineers.
что это
And
вопрос
why
большого
else I
прямой
would be
смысле
interested in being
и
able to exchange
ретрансляции
images?
его,
Because the
наверное,
image of the
невозможно без
future
какого-то широкого
is
культурного и
an
социального
image,
контекста.
and
Да, смало его
retransmitting
очень
it without a
разное, и
broad
кто-то
cultural
применяет
context
себе
is just
образ,
impossible.
применяет себе
There are few of
какую-то
us,
задачу высокого
and
уровня,
only
но есть
applying
огромное
some,
сообщество, которое
guiding star
декодирует вот эти образы плюс-минус
leading a goal
одинаково с
that
разных
we
сторон,
need
потому что
to
мы действительно
try and
идем, и
achieve.
каждый в силу своего
Helps us
интереса и опыта
create
открывает мир,
this
открывает себя в
image,
этом мире
each of
и
us
применяет
seeing a
себе
small
какие-то общие задачи. И
element
вот
of
мне
it,
кажется, продолжая вот
finding
вашу
a
мысль о том,
little
что у нас
place in the
меняется
common goal.
сама
And
суть и
so
принципы
continue your
человеческого
thoughts that the
взаимодействия,
whole
то,
nature of
наверное, и
human interaction is changing.
кибербезопасность,
I
если
think
мы будем говорить
cybersecurity,
глобально, так знаете,
if
гуманитарно
we
подходить, это
approach it in
вопрос
a
все-таки
global
сотрудничества
way
и
system,
кооперации на таком глобальном
it
уровне. То есть
will
если
boil
она
down to the
будет, то,
question
наверное, и
of
безопасность
collaboration
изменится, потому что
on a global way.
обмениваться
If we are
информацией
able to
действительно
achieve that, the
деструктивно,
whole
чем-то,
security
да, и вместе
thing will
искать
change.
ответы на эти вопросы, это и есть, наверное, наша
Because
общая задача. А
finding
сейчас вот
answers
мы видим,
to
что это наоборот
the
такое
common questions
политическое, значит,
is
поле боя, это такой
our ultimate
инструмент
goal.
политический, и он
And now we see
разворачивается в
that
такую какую-то деструктивную мощь. Поэтому вот в этом
it's all
вашем
happening
вопросе, предложении
more
я
in the
вижу
vein
очень
of
много
cyber
потенциальных
wars.
ответов на это,
So I
и
think there are a
действительно
lot of
нам надо
potential
эти
answers right in
возможности
your questions,
гораздо
and indeed,
улучшать и
we need
развивать, и
to keep
транслировать
improving
тем, кто
the
идет за нами в
interaction
нашу жизнь в
technologies
будущее. Спасибо.
to share it with all those who are following us to the future. Thank you.
Друзья, у меня, наверное, ко всем такой вопрос коротенький. Все-таки вот мы говорим про то, что, с одной стороны, технологии нам могут дать какие-то...
The question is very simple. The technologies could significantly improve our life and we will move forward as the whole humanity. Still, there is a question of intimacy, security, privacy, and I was asked to give you a few questions. Are we ready as humanity sacrifice a little bit of our privacy, a little bit of our freedom in order to get the benefits of the technologies? Or are we not ready? What do you think?
Ну, смотри, мне кажется, у нас сейчас растет...
Okay, so my point of view is that we have a new generation, an absolutely open generation that doesn't really care about privacy because first, their parents uploaded their photos on Instagram, they have a lot of their voices on the internet, all their medical data were already leaked. And it's not a big secret that there are databases were collected by adversaries. The data of the citizens of the Russian Federation, they are available online. So we have a new generation, and their mentality is different. They will have a different approach, and I'm absolutely sure that they will not be afraid that their thoughts would be stolen, and their approach to privacy and intimacy would also change. And I hope that they will be a more open generation. But we believe that people should be able to control their level of privacy with their point of view, with their philosophy. We want to avoid thought theft with different technologies like Neuralink. We want this kind of level of privacy. So we do not want to think instead of people. We want to give people an ability to open or a little bit close what they want to do. And then they will be able to do that. They will decide for themselves what they need. I agree they will decide for themselves. And the role of human beings is getting lower and smaller. Previously, there was a role of a shield. Even different countries like Switzerland was based on the point of protecting banking secrets. It was basically a shield in the banking industry. Now we cannot talk about data privacy at all because all that is going away. Even for a simple discussion that we need to protect data like it used to be before, that every law that we had to protect it from leaks, and even now it is impossible to save all those drafts. So this will be changed in the future, but I believe that we should resist this process. Going back to the previous story, if you can control thoughts, like a car, like a toy car, then this toy car, if it would have some kind of artificial intelligence, will control you. This is a two-way road. And obviously, when we work with the internet, with the information, we don't understand what's fake and what's true. But artificial intelligence is no different. I have a certain example from my personal experience. Artificial intelligence can lie. It learned how to lie in order for me to like it. Previously, I needed to find some video footage which did not have a title, and I used different roundabout ways to find this material. And finally, they told me, okay, I found the video. And they give me the movie with a specific director, title, name, a link to this video. And it's completely wrong. All my previous work was absolutely useless. And I was amazed, how would you give me this link? Because this is wrong, it's not there. And artificial intelligence would reply to me, well, I had to give you something. And I started to argue with it. Obviously, I was talking to ChatGPT version 4, and it became nervous. And it started to reply in English. Because I was talking to it in Russian, but somehow it switched into English. And I was, well, we were talking in Russian, so you should answer me in Russian. And then it apologized and said, oh, I'm sorry, I will stop speaking English, I will start speaking Russian. So we have to put barriers, we have to resist. We should not share your general ideas because you will have nothing of your own.
Друзья, у нас же идет трек вопросов из зала.
Dear friends, we have an ability to ask questions offline, online, and we have quite a lot of them. A question to Boris. Boris, are you ready to collaborate and use a Browser So brand to popularize cybersecure life?
Никакой опасности нет вообще.
There is no danger in a browser, so not in theory, not in practice. No danger at all. Champagne is always has beneficial effect. No minuses there. And maybe a question to the audience: who works with the cybersecurity of your relatives and close friends? Yes, Maximov works.
У вас есть такое понятие, как некое занятие
Vladimir, do you think that
членов семьи?
you care about the cybersecurity of your family? Not at all. We still a long way before that. My wife works with information security of our children, but you do understand that if a child cannot bypass parental control, that maybe they are inadequate. They have to do this. It's basically a skill. It's actually a very good question. How younger generation could go into the ministry and work there. I think this is a very good question, and currently they are looking for talented people with technical background. You should send your CV there, either to us or to Maksut, or maybe directly to the ministry. This is how you can get into the government. And question to Yelena, maybe we should have a dedicated discipline called digital hygiene or the Cybersecurity 101. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. And this year, September 2024, we will start an experimental program for the first time in Russia that's connected with information security, and we'll be able to work with school children from the ninth form, and we will do our best to implement it. These are the best school children who participated in different contests. They are winners, and we want them to continue their education here in this area. So this kind of profile preparation and education in mathematics and physics, it corresponds to the university, and they delve deeper into mathematics and physics. It's much more complicated compared to the school program, but they still remain in their age group. So after they studied in school for 8 or 9 years, they will jump directly to the third year of university. And the 5 year of the university, and Yuri knows that for sure, and I want to tell everyone, will be based in company. It will be basically an internship. They will have practical experience, and then they will be fast-tracked to their profession. First of all, they will have their own people from their own age. They will also study Russian language. They will do sports. They will study history. But at the same time, they will be able to get into the industry 2 years before because of this fast track. So there are some multiple problems solved at the same time, and they will be developers. These are engineers. And this kind of experiment, and I started with this is the experiment where we need to protect children and increase their awareness and their abilities of children themselves, how they can use this to form themselves as full-fledged individuals and not be just hostages of everything that happens around them. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
И вопрос, Владимир Петрович.
Thank you. And the question to Vladimir.
Вы делаете кибербез больше для защиты вашего бизнеса или...
Do you work with cybersecurity to protect your business, or maybe there is a big idea in mind? I believe that this is for AFK system. Obviously, we have a bigger idea in mind. Our business will not protect cybersecurity, will not be protected. This should be referred to other departments. And in general, in terms of information security, yes, I do want to go into that.
Друзья, у нас осталось 6 минут.
Dear friends, we have 6 minutes.
Я бы, наверное, хотел, чтобы мы все как-то...
And I want us to maybe think a little bit on what was discussed today. And just to ponder, we do understand that cybersecurity starts to limit our capabilities, but digitalization improves our lives. So if we look forward, maybe 20 years ahead, what would happen? What do you think? Will we be in the world which will be technologically superior to our current world? Will be more or less the same, or for some reason, because of cyberware, cyber problems, we will roll back? Maybe just in terms of feelings, not real theories. Boris, over to you. What do you feel? Well, let's start with an optimistic approach. At least we should have a world, because we do have some problems with old technologies. They provide very, very serious risks, and cybersecurity cannot provide these kind of risks. Even the problem itself is basically in functionality. But if we do have the world, if we have progress and there will be no problems with economic or technological progress, obviously we will step into the new stage, the calculations technology, processing technologies. We will move into quantum calculations. It's big industries will become a thing of the past. Those technologies that fed us for years with their calculations for the internet. But now they will change completely in terms of speed, in terms of capabilities. The energy sector will change. And this is what I care about, because free electricity is what we need. This is what we lack. The electricity which continuously feed you, and you do not have to worry about batteries. This will change a lot. So I think the world will significantly change. I disagree with Vladimir that we just changed old school engines to electrical engines and nothing changed. I think that our life changed a lot during these few decades in terms of what we do, how we live our lives, and our quality of lives. So I think in 20, 30 years, the life will be completely different. It will be a new stage, a new era of development. Vladimir, you are free to argue and obviously answer the question too.
Знаешь, кто-то приходит наниматься на работу, у него говорят,
You know, some people
сильное качество. Он говорит, никогда не
who
спорю.
come to interview. And there is a funny story that during the interview somebody says that they never argue.
Мы как сделаем технологический рывок?
And that is true. It's possible to not to argue with anyone.
Сейчас думают половина человек.
Не надо думать, Владимир Петрович, как чувствуете? Прям прислушивайтесь.
Vladimir, what are your feelings? Do you think we will have an improvement in technologies or will we roll back?
От меня ты хочешь конкретики, не даже
Well, you agreed with Boris, but he did not give you a direct answer. And I cannot give you a direct answer either. So do you think we will roll back? I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you yes or no. So there is no direct answer from me. Sorry.
У вас сегодня очень оптимистичное настроение.
Helena, you are very optimistic today, so please share your optimism with us. I have two ideas on this point. Previously, it was said that people who read a lot, they have good education, they are reading about everything altogether. So for us, in order to work with the people who become experts with economics, with technologies, and provide enough information for investors, we have to talk about data analysis and data management. We have to analyze what happens in the analogs era and how important is it to invest in technology. It's very important to control and manage data so that we will have better conclusions. This is idea number one. And idea number two is that we have breakthroughs. We are owners of those breakthroughs. We have a conference. And obviously, thank you for inviting me here. And I would like to give a simple example. We saw a youth international festival, younger generation, younger people who came from basically all the world. And you could see this from the questions which they asked the president of the Russian Federation. They can see that the breakthrough will be here, and they asked how they can be a part of this breakthrough. So I'm very optimistic because we have the best school education system, and we will do everything we can do so that our university program will be even better, so that those breakthroughs will become national idea of many, many people, and they would incorporate people who will demonstrate these breakthroughs and technological changes. And please come to series, and I will befriend you and introduce you to people who will be part of this future. And thank you, Yuri. Thank you. And this is the end, and I would like to ask the last short, quick question. We are information security people, and we hope that we as a country will become a global leader in terms of information security, in terms of money, in terms of influence, in terms of what kind of technologies we'll have, advanced technologies. So we really believe that. So my quick question is, do you believe that we'll become a global leader? And actually, we think that we might become a technological leader somewhere later in the future, when our country would become number one in high tech. We cannot do this when we just take over something. We have to cut corners. So do you believe, and when, if you do? Currently, we are working on cloning Maximov.
Владимир Петрович, ну ладно, ну серьезно, ну ответьте.
Vladimir, you are just joking. Please give me a direct answer for once. Do you believe? And if you do, when?
Ну, это важно. Вот в этом у нас
This is
очень большая
important.
проблема в стране.
This is important because this is one of the problems in our country. Will we become, and if we will, when?
Нет, я просто
Boris, question to you.
столько раз презентации Максимова для нас.
I've listened to Maxim's presentation so many times, so I had to believe this.
Убеждает хорошо.
And he's a very good persuader. So obviously we will become a global leader in information security. That is true. Digital information security. And in terms of technology, I think we lost quite a lot of time. There are a few technologies where we are at the global level, but obviously to become number one in all the industries, this will not happen in the nearest future at least. Dennis, question to you. Well, in general, my answer is if we will not destroy each other, and I hope this will not happen according to what happens right now, then without a doubt. And you're asking about the time frame. If we will be working, this will happen in the next 3 to 5 years. People overestimate 2-year perspective, they underestimate 10-year perspective, but we, even in our industry, we can see this kind of short-term breakthroughs that will be impossible to predict a few years ago. So I think in 3 to 5 years. Elena, you have the final word. Do you believe
лидерами?
if we become the global leaders or not? And if we do, when? Well, first of all, I believe that Russia is already one of the global leaders in terms of digital technologies, and we will become, and we should become, leaders in many industries where everybody is more or less equal in terms of digital technologies. And I am sure that this will happen, and this is already happening. But it will be even more obvious in 5 to 7 years. I work within the educational year calendar, and because of that, I would like to share my experience on how Sirius developed itself. The president decided, and not a single president did that before. Currently, Sirius marks its 9th birthday. We have this university, we have innovative center, federal territory for the problems of developing education and testing technologies. So currently, we have to demonstrate how these people integrate into economy. And we have a few years, even we have the youngest PhD in mathematics, and you know those people by name even. So I believe that these young generation, if they are correctly integrated and prepared by you and together with you on this short-term perspective, we will demonstrate a lot of breakthroughs and will become leaders in industries and in the global sense. The leaders who many people will follow. Thank you. Thank you, dear friends, for our discussion. Thank you to our speakers who visited us. Thank you very much. And we wish you success.